A wet and rainy night at Widener Field. The push for the playoffs is heating up in the USL. And tonight, a clash between the East and the West, presented by Widener, as the homestanding Colorado Switchbacks welcome Detroit City FC. With the former pro footballer Chris Nurse, Josh White. Chris, let's look at the Western Conference table, and with just 6 weeks left, the Switchbacks are knocking on the door for that coveted second spot.
Yeah, Colorado Springs find themselves in a very good position right now. Head coach Brendan Burke has spoken about trying to get the home matches in the playoffs, and right now they're sitting exactly where they need to be. Of course, they can't afford to take their foot off the gas. They want good results, good momentum going into playoffs. They need to continue the form they've been in currently. 3 clean sheets, 3 wins. Can they continue that tonight?
You mentioned the 3 straight clean sheets. They're rounding into form, and it was another 1-0 win for the Switchbacks.
Yeah, Hadji Barry, of course, has been the star for this team, but he's not been doing it alone. And here you see Henrique chipping in on his part to play in the form that they're having. Great finish, first time into the back of the net to give them a convincing 1-0 lead over Phoenix Rising.
Well, the old saying goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The Switchbacks have won 3 straight, so Brendan Burke penciled in the same 11 for his Phil Long starting lineup.
Yeah, and that allows them to have a lot of success. Being able to play the same 11 week in, week out, not making too many changes, brings a lot of confidence and chemistry to this lineup. If they can continue that for the remainder of the season, which is obviously going to be difficult, you're going to want to rest legs and keep players fresh going into the playoffs. They're going to have a huge chance of success going forward.
Chris, when you talk about Colorado Springs, you can't help but not talk about one of the most dynamic players in the USL, Hadji Barry.
Yeah, and maybe we give him too much credit, but he's been spectacular this season. Last season, he continues to be a leader in the way he performs, his attitude, his mentality, his work rate on the pitch, but more so his quality when he's in possession of the ball, his ability to create chances that we just saw for others, but also to take chances and score himself. So I think his success is obviously a huge impact of the rest of the players around him, but he's having another standout season, one of the league's best attacking players.
With Colorado Springs within reach of a top spot in the West, Detroit City, they're jockeying for one of the final playoff spots in the East.
Yeah, we're at the part of the season where every game is a business game, where it's not so much about style of play or how you win, it's about getting those 3 points. And they're in the last playoff spot right now. They need to make sure they keep picking up good results, because anything can happen in these remaining 5 or 6 games. Tulsa are not out of it yet. They want to climb it and get a good seed as they can, so they want to ensure they continue to pick up points in the remaining games.
Well, Detroit City rounding into form as well with a couple of clean sheets in their last 2 efforts.
Yeah, and clean sheets, of course. We have a new keeper making their first professional debut today, so of course that could have an impact on their ability to function effectively as a defensive unit.
Well, Trevor James is Phil Long starting 11. You alluded to one of the changes. They make 2 big changes tonight.
Yeah, and this is another team that hasn't made too many changes to lineup, but they've been forced to make a couple of changes tonight. One of the goalkeepers unavailable today, Tashello comes in. He makes his first professional start for this team, so it's going to be interesting to see how he gels with the defenders in front of him and the ability to keep clean sheets and the chemistry that they have together as a unit.
Well, the 24-year-old goalkeeper will take over for Nathan Steinwasser, who's unavailable tonight, and you get a look at him before his first pro appearance. Yeah, and for goalkeepers, we know it's a position where you need to have a lot of confidence. I'm sure for the head coach to put him in there, he feels like he's ready enough. It's up to him to go out there and perform and shows that he wants to keep the #1 starting position. Tonight's player walkout is sponsored by Children's Hospital Colorado. Kickoff between Colorado Springs and Detroit City when we come back on ESPN+.
Fox 21's Loving Living Local is exploring outdoor Colorado in this fully loaded 4xe Jeep Wrangler, and now is your chance to win big. Snap a pic of yourself enjoying Colorado's outdoors, submit that to fox21news.com, plus tune in to Loving Living Local for special segments highlighting things to do and places to see in our beautiful state. At the end of the year, one lucky winner will receive a gift certificate for a prepaid 2-year lease on a brand new Jeep from Perkins Motors. So, show us how you outdoor Colorado.
Calling all Switchbacks fans. Now is your chance to be featured on Loving Living Local. All you have to do is submit your best fan photo on our website for a chance to be featured on Loving Living Local with our host, Nava. And you'll receive a fan swag goodie bag full of awesome Switchbacks gear. For your chance to be our winner, just go to fox21news.com under the Sports tab and click Switchbacks FC to enter.
Is your animal so photogenic you can't stop taking pictures of them? Whether it's exotic, funny, or just plain cute, we want to share it.
You know, they look like a J. Crew catalog. If these were 55-year-old men just hanging out on a leather couch.
Right. Go to fox21news.com/petpics, submit your photo, and watch for your pet during the morning weather forecast. Pet Picks on Fox 21 is sponsored by Furry Friends Incorporated, the pet food store that comes to your door. We are Southern Colorado.
Saturday during the summers was our get up and go to Monument Lake fishing. From a little hobby as an 11-year-old kid, it's turned into quite a business.
Our stories matter.
If they're on the trails, if they're in the woods, if they're anywhere, I can be with them now.
Bringing you the most local news.
All of the people that are doing this type of agriculture are trying to do a better thing for society.
We are Fox 21, and together we are Southern Colorado.
The stage is set for Colorado Springs and Detroit City on a rainy night here at Widener Field. The Switchbacks in their home black uniforms with that neon blue trim. Detroit City in the road whites. Chris, we talked about it in the pregame. It's going to be a fun one here tonight in Colorado Springs.
Yeah, still lots to play for both of these teams. We spoke about Colorado Springs and want to secure in themselves getting the home stadium for the playoff games, but also Detroit still trying to see if they can make sure they secure that last playoff spot. And of course, they want to take good momentum going into the playoffs. So a lot at stake for both of these two teams tonight.
Again, Detroit City, 11-6-10, 43 points, 7th in the East. Colorado Springs, 16-9-3, 3rd in the West with 51 points. Chris, it's going to be interesting to see how the change in goal tonight might make a difference for Detroit City with Ryan Shello in his first pro appearance.
Yeah, we spoke briefly, and going into the playoffs, and of course you're trying to stay in there, it's all the unit and cohesion that we spoke about in not changing the lineup has a huge impact, and especially goalkeeper is such an important position, and it brings so much stability and confidence to your defense and the rest of the team. So it's going to be important for him to make sure he gets off to a good start tonight.
Wynn tries to chip it free, but it's knocked away.
Not just for his own confidence, but for the confidence of the team to ensure that they get off on the front foot. Obviously, they want to try to continue to keep clean sheets, keep pushing forward. Having a solid goalkeeper is very important for that. So it's going to be interesting to see how he manages the first 15 minutes of his first professional debut, playing, you know, on the big stage with some of his teammates that I'm sure he's trained with for a long time. It's a little bit different on game day, especially when there's playoffs at stake.
Well, defense has been the name of the game for both of these two clubs recently. 3 straight clean sheets for Colorado Springs, back-to-back shutouts for Detroit City.
Yeah, clean sheets is always it's a good trait that you want to take when you're going towards the playoffs. Of course, if you're able to keep a clean sheet and win games, that's the most valuable characteristic you can take forward. But being able to keep clean sheets, you start the game with 1 point. If you keep a clean sheet, you're always going to leave with 1 point.
Maybe a chance to set up something early for Detroit City, give some confidence to the 24-year-old goalkeeper.
It's going to be interesting to see, though, but with the form that Hadji Barry's been in recently, if this Detroit defense is going to be able to keep him quiet, they're definitely going to be tested to the extreme tonight. The way that he comes short and shows for the ball, but also makes runs in behind. If they play a high line, he has the speed and intelligence in his runs to exploit that space. So it's going to be interesting to see how they go about marking him, because of course he is the focal point for attack when it comes to Colorado Springs.
Of course, the other element when you go to Colorado Springs, you get the altitude, 6,500 feet up, and tonight it comes with some rain.
Yeah, that is always something that you have to take in consideration when you're playing away from home, but it's a little bit more difficult when you're traveling to Colorado, because as you mentioned, the altitude plays a huge impact because there's not as much oxygen in the air, and it takes a little while for your body to adjust. The teams come in, it's a little bit different for them. They have to find a way to weather the storm, such to speak, but sometimes they need to adjust their tactics also, because you can get winded very quickly and it takes a little bit longer to recover, whereas Colorado Springs are very much used to that and use it to their advantage at home to be dominant. So it's interesting to see how the tactics are adjusted to also take into consideration the climate.
Well, we got a chance to talk to Colorado Springs head man Brendan Burke, and I think the funniest thing he could have possibly answered is, what advice would you give to a visiting team? And he said, pray.
Yeah, there's not much in terms of the way you can prepare for the altitude. Some teams try to come in a couple days before, and that can sometimes even choose to be counterproductive because as your body adjusts, you're not yourself. Some teams choose to come in on the day of the game, so they kind of come in and go out the same day so it doesn't get so impacted. So many different ways to adjust to it. If you really do have a long preparation time, sometimes teams go into altitude camp. We played in Estadio Azteca, which is high altitude also, and we went to Colombia, Bogota to do camp prior to that for 2 weeks, so that when we went there we had a better chance of adjusting. And believe me, I was a very fit player, but the altitude made me look like I was like 200 pounds. I couldn't run for the first few days. It took a lot to adjust to, but you get there in the end.
It's going to be a feeling out process in the early moments of this match. The rain adds another element. Saw the numbers on the screen moments ago. Colorado Springs has fared very well here at Widener Field. 10-3-2, their mark this season.
Of course, and the rain and the conditions, you know, in summer we always talk about how it slows the game down a little bit because it inhibits the players to continuously play at a high tempo and press. When it's cooler like this, it allows the players to play longer at a high tempo to press, taking the altitude away, of course, that we just spoke about, but it often makes the game a little bit quicker. And the surface tonight, with the surface being wet, means it's going to be a little bit slick. Good environment for players to get shots off hard and low where it skids off the surface, and goalkeepers have a harder time judging the pace of the ball.
Almost an opportunity for Colorado Springs. Temporarily handled. Here's an attempt from Enriquez, and it's knocked away.
It's definitely a night where your attacking players want to be following any balls that go into the keeper. Slippery, goalkeeper doesn't hold on to it. Opportunity there for an easy tap in. So
Galena, and a corner kick coming for Colorado Springs.
First touches on the ball for Galena, who was so active in the game against Phoenix Rising. Had probably a good 3 chances. He should have had a hat-trick. Just didn't show as much composure in the final third in that game as he may have liked, but he was in the right place. Just needed a little bit more composure in the finish. But again, another attacking player who's been very, very, very dominant this season.
Big time opportunity for Colorado Springs. This corner kick brought to you by Pikes Peak National Bank. Bank well, be well, cheer loud. Lindley into the box, and almost trouble for Detroit City.
Yeah, somehow he's managed to head that away from target. It looked like he had a fairly straightforward header there. If he gets good contact in it, I think he puts his team in the lead, but interesting to see the replay to see what actually happened when he connected with that ball.
Now that was part of the storyline for Colorado Springs against Phoenix as well. They did get the result they wanted, a 1-0 win, but they had chance after chance after chance, out shooting them 12-2.
Yeah, and for sure, as they go towards the postseason, they're definitely going to want to be more clinical in the final third. Creating chances was not a problem for in that game. I think they created well in excess of 20 chances throughout the course of the game, but they really only converted 1 of those chances, and that conversion ratio isn't quite good enough. In the final third against the top teams, you may not get 23 chances. You may get just 5 or 6 throughout the course of the game, and you need your strikers to be clinical in that final third to make those count.
Here's another look at that corner kick. There's Enriquez going toe-to-toe with Cello.
2 of them just clashing. Goalkeeper actually does well to come away and punch that one.
Chris, you mentioned the first 15 minutes for Cello going to be a feeling out process. How would you judge him halfway through?
I mean, you try to think back to your first opportunity to play as a professional. For sure, nerves, you're a little bit nervous, you're a little bit anxious. And as a goalkeeper, you know that you can't afford to make a mistake because you're the last line of defense. If you make a mistake, it often ends in a goal. For a striker, it might be a little bit different. You might give away a few passes on your first game and nothing really happens because you have 10 players behind you defend you. As a goalkeeper, you don't get that opportunity. So I'm sure there's a little bit of nerves playing into it. I'm sure if he can make a couple of good saves in the first half, it'll do wonders for his confidence and help him in the remainder of the performance.
Again, Detroit City without starting goalkeeper Nathan Steinwasser. Going to the 24-year-old Ryan Cello. Hasn't been tested all that much in the first 8.5 minutes. Colorado Springs tries to sort out Detroit City. Very organized and structured bunch for Detroit City defensively. Brennan Burke said the key is pull them out of their shape and try and hit it down the line and over the top.
Yeah, trying to keep possession and move the ball quickly, create spaces and holes in the formation of the opponent. So they probably want to move it a little bit quicker than what they are. They're doing a good job moving it to side, but they're not moving it quick enough to really shift around the formation of Detroit right now. They're seeing Barry having to come very deep to get touches on the ball because they haven't been able to quite work it into the final third yet to get him on the ball. But that's what he does ever so well. He comes deep, and then when defenders are not watching, that's when he makes runs deep in behind into the offensive third and ends up getting on the ball and creating opportunities for his team, if not taking them himself.
Here's Matthews for Detroit City. Plays it off to Dunwell. Detroit City will go back under high pressure in their own half. A lively bunch at Widener Field despite the rain.
Yeah, the rain seems to be a motivating factor. I find that when the rain is out, people like the change from summer. The summer can be very hot and humid. And I find when it just starts to get a little bit colder and fresh again, people really enjoy that phase of the season. They're not sweating so much, it's not so humid. They really enjoy the change in the season. So now is the time that lots of soccer fans really enjoy.
We talk about it impacting the play on the pitch, but off the pitch, it has some impact as well. Here is the talented Barry. Plays it off. And here's one of those shots over the top. It's Galena. Galena into the box and over the head of Barry.
That's the pros and cons of having the inverted winger. Galena obviously is not naturally left-footed, so instead of going down the line and taking a touch and be able to deliver it on his natural left foot, he's right-footed. So he cuts back onto his right foot and it completely changes the angle for him to deliver that ball, and unfortunately he's unable to hit that with any kind of real quality, and it runs out of play for a throw-in. But that's the pros and cons when you have a right-footed player playing on the left side. Of course, every time they want to get it, they want to cut onto their stronger foot and come inside. Really, that was a good opportunity for somebody left-footed to get out their feet and deliver a nice cross for Haji Barry, making a run centrally.
In the early going, Colorado Springs has controlled much of the play. And there is number 10 once again, Barry, but can't control it.
Does so well at timing the run, but just didn't quite get the ball up under control as would have liked. First touch wasn't good in that situation, but he has such good timing to catch defenders when those balls are played in behind.
Second in the USL with 9 assists, third in goals with 16. Of course, scored 25 a year ago, matched a single season league record. He is so dangerous at any time.
Yeah, and it's difficult to, sometimes one player can have a good season, but he's doing this back-to-back seasons, which means it's not luck, it's not form. This is just a very, very, very classy player who's exceptionally talented. And right now he's one of the top performers in the USL Championship, which is a very respectable league. So it'll be interesting to see if his team is able to hold on to him at the end of the season. Of course, I think they would like to, but there may be big things on the horizon for Haji Barry based upon the performance he's had over the past couple of years.
Foster can't keep it. It's taken by Matthews. Detroit City on the attack. Hold the phone, it's Echeverria to Barry. Spin cycle through, Barry, and it's blocked down.
And there you see what Barry does so well. For a big guy, you don't necessarily expect him to have the flair in his feet. He has such good touches, such good agility. You see how he sends the defenders one way, cuts back onto his right foot, sends the other way. He just didn't get the connection on the shot they wouldn't like, but you saw the ability to create the opportunity to shoot through his agility and his good feet is what most big number 9s at that size don't really have. So he has the physical presence, but he also has the skill and the creativity and the technique.
Well, another corner kick upcoming for Colorado Springs. It's brought to you by Pikes Peak National Bank. Bank well, be well. cheer loud. They went towards Enriquez on the last corner opportunity. It'll be Lindley to take it once again. The young goalkeeper, Ryan Shello, in his professional debut, tested early. Lindley, back post. And no one there on the other end. Another corner kick for the Switchbacks.
It's interesting because Brendan Burke spoke about having the home games for the playoffs. And he spoke about, you know, how he views himself as a small club. They don't have the roster or the resources as some of the other teams in the league. But if they're able to get to the playoffs and they're able to bring the big teams here, that altitude is a huge advantage, especially as you get further into the fall where the temperatures are dropping and it's getting colder. It gives them, I want to say, at least a 10% advantage over anybody that comes up here to play. So I think having that home advantage, bringing teams here to play in the playoffs, is a tremendous boost for Colorado Springs.
Third corner kick of the night, brought to you by McDivitt Law Firm. We are in your corner. It's Lindley with the service right back in, headed on and over the bar. Looked like Amo just couldn't control it down.
Great delivery from Lindley. You see the pace in the whip that he puts on the ball into the box, makes it so difficult for defenders to defend. The attacker just gets too much connection on the ball and it goes over the crossbar. Anything on target, I think, is the goalkeeper's picking out the back of his net. But that's an example where the connection with the header was probably a little bit too good. If he misheaders it a little bit, it probably comes if his header's in the back of the net, where he headed it so clean, so much power, ends up over the crossbar.
Chris, you mentioned the first 15 minutes, a feeling out process here in Colorado Springs. What have you seen so far?
Yeah, I think Shello will be confident with his opening 15 minutes, you know, just one step at a time. Every 5 minutes he's taking it. And so far, his first 15 minutes professionally, he hasn't conceded an early goal. So he'll build little bits of confidence from the little wins that he has over the course of the game. And that's going to be what allows him to go on and build his confidence and, of course, compete. He wants to compete. He wants to be up there in the #1 position, as all athletes do. So he has an opportunity tonight to make a big statement to his coach that he's not just filling in, he wants to actually have an opportunity to compete for a starting position. And so far in the opening 60 minutes, he's kept a clean sheet so far.
He's been tested a few times early on with some corner kicks. Colorado Springs, maybe another opportunity, plays it through. It's Berry, sidesteps Shello. And Shello wanted maybe something coming out from the ref.
I think he's taking a deep breath here, Shello. Haji Barry does ever so well here again. Look, timing, running in between the fullbacks and the defender. The goalkeeper comes out. He doesn't get any connection on the ball whatsoever. So in my eyes, if you don't get connection on the ball, it has to be a PK. I think the referee's giving him an extra boost of confidence there with that decision, because I think that he'll probably find himself in the book and facing a PK on another day. I think that's a huge let-off there for Detroit. But there you see the danger that Haji Barry brings with his timing of his runs, angle of his runs. I think he can feel hard done by there, that he doesn't have the opportunity to put them 1-0 ahead from the penalty spot.
Well, of course, Shello's asking for maybe a foul or a card, and instead you think it could have been the other way.
Well, if the referee doesn't give the free kick, then of course he's asking the referee that the forward is play acting and diving. So really there has to be a decision either way, either it is a foul or somebody's trying to con the referee and is diving. So questions could be asked in both directions as to who should be carded, but dangerous situation to say the least. But you see those runs forward from Haji Barry, so difficult to pick up and mark. His timing and the chemistry that he has with his teammates know where and when to put the ball so consistently. He makes those runs in behind and is able to be the first onto them. If he's clean through, he takes the opportunity himself, or he's waiting for support for other players to slide it across for them for easy tap-ins. But this is where Detroit City have to decide, do they drop that line deeper and negate the space behind for him to run into, or do they keep playing you know, that higher line they're playing right now, where the space behind is being exposed. I think Shello would rather his defense drop a little bit and give him a little bit of protection, given how effective Hadji Barry's been in his opening stage of exploiting that space. Although he hasn't scored, you can see the danger that he presents when he's allowed to get motoring into that space.
Chris, I think if you're a goalkeeper, you'd love to have 5 or 6 at the back and park the bus anytime.
Especially on your debut, you know, you want that little bit of protection. As you get more confident, more experience, then you can kind of be a little bit more expansive in how you approach the game. But we'll see. So far, 0-0.
0-0 through the first 20. Seems like Colorado Springs, like Brendan Burke mentioned, trying to find those little pockets between this very structured Detroit City form.
And patience also. Although Phoenix Rising went down to 10 men just before half-time, it wasn't until 5-10 minutes into the second half that they actually got that goal to go ahead. So they know that over time, maybe the circumstances will wear down on Detroit City. The altitude, the environment, climate, will take its toll on them, and then the opportunities will open up more so in the second half to create more goal-scoring opportunities. Interesting to see how Detroit are able to manage themselves in this circumstance a little bit differently to a regular game, because of course, as we mentioned, Colorado circumstances are not the same as playing in Detroit.
Here's Barry trying to create. Detroit City sniffs it out. And
of course, we were also discussing Detroit's form at home hasn't really been as stellar as they may expect, and they may welcome the opportunity to be away from home and kind of release that pressure for a little bit. But this is maybe one of the away trips that you don't look forward to as much as some of the others.
You mentioned it. It's almost odd that Detroit City hasn't felt comfortable at home. They haven't won at home since May 21st. Then you go on the road, you get that opportunity, but you're in Colorado Springs.
Yeah, and
Scalina here. Plays it for Barry, just past him, and they couldn't link up.
Of course, the objective is your mentality is you want to win every single game. But when you take all the factors into consideration, if you're able to win your home games and always pick up a point on the road, then this is what's considered good statistics or good characteristics of teams that are able to go and win championships. When you struggle at home, it makes it so much harder for you, because you're always facing different uncertainties, different challenges, flight delays, all the different things that can come about when you're traveling away from home. When you're at home, you're able to control your circumstances and your preparation a lot better, and that can often lead to good continuity in performances.
Foster plays one low. Shello able to control it.
Again, one of those moments that will just give him a little bit more confidence. Crosses coming into the box, not just reacting and being first to the ball, but holding on to the ball. Sometimes goalkeepers in those situations, they get to the ball, but don't hold on to it and push it into areas where it gives the teams opportunities to score from the second balls. But the fact that he was able to hold on to it, just little wins that will continue to build his confidence as the game progresses.
Steinwasser's normally a stalwart in goal for Detroit City, tied for 4th in the league with 80 saves. But it's the youngster Ryan Shello, his professional debut. Maybe Detroit City can make him feel even more comfortable right here.
Yeah, and we're looking at two teams that don't really make too many changes in their roster. Colorado Springs, we spoke about 0 changes to their previous game. And Detroit, just 2 changes, one of those, of course, being forced through circumstances. So there's a lot of chemistry and continuity with both of these rosters, and this is the phase of the season where this is the most important, in having that chemistry and understanding between players, between defensive unit, midfield units, and of course between the lines, having a great understanding of where you're successful and where you're a little bit weak and you need a little bit more focus and concentration.
Enriquez got position. Quick foul. Colorado Springs over the top, looking for Galena. Galena plays it for Foster, who pokes it to Barry. Barry spins. Does Barry have it? And puts it above the bar.
Barry does ever so well to keep this chance alive. And here you see him using strength, speed, intelligence to create the space to get the shot off. Again, just not enough composure on the final shot. He's under a lot of the pressure, to be fair. The defender does well to stay tight to ensure that he doesn't get space to get a clean shot off. But again, creating the opportunity here with a little bit of craftiness to create the opportunity to get the shot off. But defender does well to put him under pressure, force him to having a bad shot.
What a touch by Foster to get it to him.
Yeah, doing ever so well to keep that attack alive. But we see Galena again making those runs into space behind. The defensive unit for Detroit City need to recognize when the players from Colorado Springs get the ball out their feet and they're looking to play those balls in behind, that they need to drop quicker. Because at the moment, Galena's timing and his pace making those runs in behind is killing Detroit City's defense. And one moment of brilliance or a little bit better quality in the final third is going to lead to a goal sooner or later. So they need to adjust in how they deal with the balls when they're played deeper in behind.
That is Mo down. This injury stoppage brought to you by Centura Health. And that be what Colorado Springs needs to try and find Barry. It's Galena again.
I think one player we don't speak about, unlucky there, a nice clever pass there from Mo trying to find Barry in behind. I think one player for Colorado Springs that we don't speak about enough is Lindley. I think he does so much industrious work, the dirty work that doesn't necessarily hit the headlines or get the praise, but so effective for this team. Always looking for the ball, keeping the ball moving, finds himself in little pockets where defenders or midfielders can always find him as an option to switch the point of attack or just to keep the possession and keep things rotating. I think he does a great job in the center of park for this team.
Talked, of course, a lot about Haji Barry, and rightfully so, one of the top players in the league. An interesting move by Detroit City, but Tello Faz off the bench tonight.
Yeah, I said in the pregame that maybe we give Haji Barry too much credit. I didn't mean give him too much credit, but I meant that his success is a byproduct of the rest of the work that players around him are doing that's allowing him to be successful. And whilst he will always get the headlines, there's a lot of work that goes around from some of his teammates that allows him to be as successful as he is.
Matthews plays it ahead.
I think it's the byproduct of a good collective unit of players that are willing to work hard and put in the graft for each other, good chemistry, just a good team holistically. It's not the biggest team, as we've spoken about. They don't have the biggest roster or the most money or the biggest organization, but they function very well as a unit.
And now, after some contact between Matthews and the back line, a little pushing and shoving. It's a yellow card issued to Yazid Matthews. Every yellow card, we remind you, that versus health, well-being for all. Remember to take a moment to breathe.
Didn't look like anything too malicious there. Of course, we were just talking about how well Lindley had done. And maybe that's the opponents, they're recognizing that he's controlling the midfield. He's the one making them tick. And sometimes as the opposing midfielder, the only way to stop somebody that is to physically impose yourself on them. You know, leave a little knock on them, unfortunately, is part of the game, and try to get his head into a different space where he's now not more so focusing on his injury than focusing on controlling the tempo of the play and the ball, and try to disrupt his rhythm a little bit. So as much as it's not the best for Matthews to get the red card, sometimes that's how you have to play the game in order to disrupt somebody else's success that they're having at that spell. And we just spoke about Lindley and impact that he was having and controlling the game in the center of the park. And Matthews puts a pretty strong tackle on him.
This injury stoppage brought to you by Centura Health. As Lindley continues to get looked at by the Colorado Springs staff. You mentioned the impact that Lindley has. Always so sure-handed for Colorado Springs. Looks like he might be coming off here, Chris.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge loss for this team. As you know, we just spoke about the impact that he has for this team and how important he is. It looks like he's telling them not to sub him off as yet, but with the playoffs coming off and the position that Colorado Springs are in, I'm sure he's somebody they're going to want to bubble wrap and take a little bit of extra care of and not really take a risk in this situation of keeping him out there. It does look like it seems to be a hand injury more so than a lower body injury, so hopefully that means that he will still be available for training and selection in the upcoming games, and hopefully he can recover if he has to come out of the game. We see him again out there shortly.
Seems to be favoring that left hand a little bit. Has that ring finger tape already coming into the match.
If the decision's his, I'm pretty certain that we'll see him back onto the pitch in a couple of minutes. However, as we mentioned, I think the staff are going to bubble wrap him a little bit and take care of him.
It's always the great debate, right? The competitor in you and knowing you're 6-7 weeks away from the playoffs.
I mean, when you're mentally in that zone and it's your hand, honestly, you can play on with it. There's been games when I broke my wrist in a game before, and you don't want to come out, because even if you come out and there's competition for places, you know the player that goes in could end up keeping their spot in the team, and you're now sitting on the bench because you had to come out for an injury. So psychologically, if you know you can still go out there perform irrespective of what it might be, as a player, you do your best to get out there.
Caldwell will send them forward to play off of the yellow card.
If Lindley is unable to come back on the field, it's going to be interesting to see how Colorado Springs adjust, because as we mentioned, he's a big part in the center of the park for this team, not just in possession, but the dirty work that he does out of possession in winning the ball back, intercepting and breaking up plays.
Galena again down the left side, connects with Amo. Mo back into the central space to Enriquez.
And this is where Colorado Springs just be smart. They're actually down a man right now while Lindley's off the pitch getting treatment. So the last thing they want to do is give away possession of the ball and be chasing it.
Chris, we've seen recently Colorado Springs has gone with 3 at the back. They're comfortable with playing 4 as well. And if Lindley was not able to come back, would you think that might shift a little bit?
I think they might shift, but the good thing is that they have the flexibility to be able to do that. In game, they're able to shift from a 3 to 4. In the game, I think during the week we heard Edwards talking about some of the first time he's ever played as a right back in his game and how well he did and falling into that position and the experience that he brings to that back line. So I think having players that are versatile enough where they can play at the centre back or they can play right back, and the back line being flexible enough to rotate between those formations gives them a lot of strength, because depending on who they're playing against or how the game is playing out, they're able to adjust that tactic during the game fairly efficiently without too much disruption.
32nd minute at Widener Field in Colorado Springs. Nothing doing just yet for these two teams. Both haven't conceded a goal in quite some time. That streak now 345 plus minutes for Colorado Springs. 235 minutes for Detroit City.
Yeah, that's not the statistic you want to see as a fan, right? All the fans want to see goals. They want to see goals, they want to see goals, they want to see goals. And you're playing against two defenses have been extremely stingy recently in their games, not giving too many goals away at all. So be interested if that continues tonight. As we spoke about, this Colorado Springs attack has been lethal going forward recently.
Lindley had his hand wrapped. He returns for the Colorado Springs, but almost a chance for Detroit City. Just missing the header is Stephen Carroll.
Great header there from Carroll. He does ever so well. He makes the jump early, so he's above, he's in the air before the defenders even get off the floor. Just off the outside of the post, not far away at all. I think an inch more to the left and it's in the back of the net. Goalkeeper really wasn't expecting that, but great header there from Carroll. Unlucky not to get himself on the score sheet.
That's as good of an opportunity as you will see.
I'm gonna give Colorado Springs a little tip. Make sure that Lindley doesn't have to mark any players tight from set pieces, because if you're a defender or you're an attacker for Detroit City.
Galena on the counter. Galena! And Shello is there.
Again, if he's left-footed, he slides this ball across the face of the goal to Amo on the back stick, and it's 1-0, easy tapping. Because he's not naturally left-footed, he doesn't want to use his left foot in this situation. Really should have the accuracy just to slide that across the keeper. If he slides it square across goal, gives his teammate the opportunity for a tap-in. Such a tight angle from there. Shello does well to make the save.
Things are starting to open up for these two teams. Another corner kick for Colorado Springs, brought to you by Pikes Peak National Bank. Bank well, be well, and cheer loud.
What I was saying about Lindley on set pieces and corners, if he's responsible for marking a man and his hand's wrapped up like that, if you're the attacker, what are you likely to do? Probably give him a little handshake and squeeze a little tighter than normal, right? So very important. His coach probably adjusts and doesn't make him a man marker for set pieces and from corner kicks to make sure that his hand stays in good tact for the remainder of the game.
Usually shaking hands is the polite thing to do.
Yeah, but when somebody has a hand injury, it's smart, right? You can't send somebody off for shaking hands. But if you're smart, you know exactly what you're doing at the same time. Or just giving your wrist a little squeeze. Actually, you can tell I was a dirty player.
You just like to share a little bit of love.
You can
right?
tell I was a dirty player. Use any little advantage to gain an edge.
Lindley's service in, but Shello off his line. We talked about the defense of these two teams, but now heading into the 36th minute, there's some space to be had out there.
Yeah, what's been impressive from Colorado Springs throughout the course of this season is when they turn over possession, they do a really good job of getting players back behind the ball, into their formation, into their shape as quick as possible. The players all buy into the defending as a team.
Is Haji Barry able to earn himself a corner? Yes, he did.
Does ever so well there. A pass that's overhit that he really shouldn't get on the end of. He does ever so well to get on the end of it, keep it in play, and then win a corner kick for his team.
Detroit City almost scored off of a set piece. And Colorado Springs break the ice right here. Another corner kick brought to you by Pikes Peak National Bank. Bank well, be well, cheer loud. It's Lindley looking at the back post, and Shello punches it out. This corner kick starting to mount for Colorado Springs. Lindley again plays it through, but too much mustard on it for Amo.
Unlucky, right idea, but he just hit that one a little bit too hard. Skids off a wet surface and out of play. But you could see his intention. He was trying to slide it down the side for Amo to make the run onto, but definitely connected with that ball a little bit too hard. Both of these teams are definitely possession orientated, but I think right now the possession is definitely in favor of Colorado Springs. Despite being down to 10 men for a few minutes while Lindley was getting treatment for his hand, I think they've definitely controlled the ball and the tempo of the game so far in this game.
It's Barry, plays it back. Enriquez. Little 1-2, Barry, Enriquez! Just put it above the bar.
And this is Barry, again, involved in everything. He finds himself on the left wing earlier. He's always somewhere central. Now he finds himself out on the right wing, and his decision-making is key. Here you see him lay the ball off to Enriquez, makes a run in behind, receives the ball back here, and he has two choices here. He can take the shot himself, makes a great decision, lays the ball back off for Enriquez, and Enriquez really should do better than that. His team should be 1-0 up. The ball maybe takes a little bit of a bobble, but leaning back a bit, doesn't quite get the technique on it as he would have liked to put it into the back of the net. Just needed to guide it across goal, and Colorado Springs would have been 1-0 in the lead. But again, Haji Barry, decision-making, could have been selfish and gone to take the chance himself, lays it off, the right decision to his teammate. Unfortunately, Enriquez just was unable to convert it.
Enriquez has been in form recently, 5 points in the last 3 matches. He's made an immediate impact for Colorado Springs since being signed on June 1st.
I think what was key to point out about Barry is that he's one of the key offensive contributors in the league, and his decision making is always what's best for the team. When you're a goal scorer, of course, you want to be greedy, you want to take the shot yourself, but he recognized Enriquez was in a better position and made the right decision. He laid it off. He couldn't have laid it off any better for him. He put the ball on a plate. All Enriquez needed to do was guide it across the goalkeeper. He didn't do that. High over the crossbar. Detroit still level, 0-0.
Chris, as we head into the final 5-10 minutes of this first half, what do you want to see from these two teams heading into the break?
I think both of them will be fairly happy with the opening 40 minutes so far. I think for Detroit, it's not necessarily about controlling the possession or playing entertaining soccer at this stage of the season or entertaining the fans in Colorado. I think it's them staying in the game as long as they can and seeing if they can get something to walk away with those 3 points, because this is not an easy place to come and play. As we spoke about, the climate and the environment here makes it extremely difficult. And if you're able to weather that storm and leave here with 1 point, let alone 3 points, then that's job done. For Colorado Springs, of course, I think they're silently confident because they know in the second half they get the opportunity to kick on a little bit more because they're more acclimatized to the altitude, and they can push a little bit more with some of their substitutions and their intensity as teams drop off as the game progresses. So I think both teams will be happy if it remains 0-0 going into half-time. Both silently confident of what they believe may happen in the second 45 minutes.
Upino towards the back, and Williams can't put it down.
Not sure what Williams was trying to do here. In that situation, you just need to head the ball back where it's coming from. The goalkeeper is scampering across, so his momentum's going the opposite way. If you head it back where the ball was coming from into the corner, has a good opportunity, a good percentage of being able to score in that situation, but he heads it completely wrong. And it goes wide of the post, out for a goal kick.
Weren't too many opportunities in the first 10 minutes. Over the last 20 or so, it has really opened up here at Widener Field. Corner kick upcoming for Detroit City.
Yeah, Caldwell's not really been called into action too much in his opening 40 minutes. I feel like we've called Shello's name a few more times than we called Caldwell's name. This is probably his first involvement in this opening half. Of course, goalkeepers, you have to make sure your concentration's on point because you could be quiet and then face.
And there it is, off the corner kick. Detroit City breaks the ice.
Hey, I think I have a jinx today on my...
It is Maxi Rodriguez.
We spoke about Lindley and him not getting the praise he may deserve, then he got injured. Now we spoke about Calder and he's had a quiet first half, not called into action, and then bang, just like that, Detroit find themselves 1-0 in the lead. Again, what a delivery into the box. So much pace, whip on it, gets up early again, and Lewis just guides this one into the far post.
Lewis towards the far post. Rodriguez tapped it home. And Detroit City with the goal to take a 1-0 lead.
And we just spoke about it hasn't been the most dominant half for Detroit City, but now they'll be ecstatic with how this first half has gone. They're 1-0 in the lead. They no longer need to go and play expansive and chase the game. They can kind of conserve their energy a little bit more now that they're in the lead in the game. And now it's Colorado Springs to come out in the second half and really push the tempo of the game. But as we said, it doesn't need to be pretty from Detroit. It doesn't need to be expansive or fantastic soccer. It needs to be efficient in getting 3 points. And they're going into half-time now in the lead.
Another man down for Colorado Springs. This injury stoppage brought to you by Centura Health.
And of course, injuries is something that Colorado Springs are a little bit more delicate towards, just because they don't have the depth of squad that some of the other teams in the league have. They really need to keep the players that they have on the pitch as healthy as possible, but they're also important that they need to play them as much as possible, because these are the guys who are capable of going out there and picking up points for them. So Brendan Burke stuck between a rock and a hard place in resting players, but keeping his best 11 out on the pitch at the same time.
So Isaiah Foster getting some attention after the goal from Maxi Rodriguez.
And he does well, Rodriguez, because he doesn't get the first header, but he just attacks that far post area, hoping that the ball will come. And guess what? it did come, and he gets himself on the short score sheet because of that. I think Lewis did ever so well to attack the front post and just flick it across the face of goal. Rodriguez makes the run at the far post, puts his team into the lead.
Foster coming off under his own power as the rain continues. It's been all day in Colorado Springs coming down. No let up in the rain at all. So we approach that midway mark.
And of course, that goal changes the team talks for both coaches now. Detroit City would have been talking about halftime about how they could have adjusted to get themselves the go-ahead goal, but they've gone and done that right before halftime. Completely changes the team talk for Coach Trevor James. Now for Colorado Springs, you know, how does Brendan Burke attack this going forward in the second half? Does he become more aggressive going forward, or does he play a little bit more reserved and try to save the players' legs and their energy and try to not allow themselves to pick up injuries going forward towards the playoffs, because that's going to be huge for them to keep everybody healthy.
Well, it's the first goal conceded by Colorado Springs in 4 matches. Les gave up a goal on August the 17th at Sacramento.
Lindley again in the center of park, doing a great job keeping possession of the ball.
And Detroit City add to its 1-0 lead. Williams tries to get it ahead. Enriquez back for the Switchbacks. Here's some space for Amo. Ahead to Galena. Central to Enriquez. Detroit City found the back of the net a few moments ago. Foster back on the pitch. Foster, and Shello handles it with ease.
Now that missed opportunity that Henriquez had earlier in this first half means a whole lot more. He had the opportunity to put his team in the lead and give them a 1-0 advantage, and now they find themselves 1-0 down. So that missed opportunity, and we spoke about the previous game against Phoenix Rising, 23 chances and just converting 1. This is where Colorado Springs have to do a better job with the chances they create. They need to be more clinical, because now instead of finding themselves in the lead or tied, they now find themselves a goal down. And in the playoffs, you can't afford to give teams that kind of advantage.
5 added minutes in the first half, with Maxi Rodriguez in the scoring column for Detroit City. There is Rodriguez.
Oh, that's a strong tackle from both players.
Will Rodriguez be issued a card?
Referee allowed play to get going fairly quickly.
Been a couple strong challenges in the opening 45.
I think that one looked like both players slid in with their studs showing. Neither player came out injured, but there was definitely a, what do they call it? Excessive force. That's what it is.
Well, it'll be Lindley to take the corner.
Conditions like this really test your mentality as a player.
6th corner of the night, presented by Pikes Peak National Bank. Bank well, be well, cheer loud. Foster can't link up with the top line. It's an early 1-0 deficit.
These conditions really test your mentality as a player, because everybody can play or should be able to play in the perfect conditions, right? But when it's like this, it's windy, it's rainy, there's altitude issues. This is really when it tests your mentality and your ability to cope and perform in different circumstances and different challenges. And that is what really the game entails. When you're away from home, it's a completely different set of circumstances. The field is different, the weather is different, the climate is different. And can you still go out there and perform at the same intensity that you have been week in, week out when you're at home? This is really some of the characteristics that define the top players from the average players.
Switchbacks have done that here at Widener Field, 10-3-2 on their home turf. They're down a goal midway through. Does Detroit City have another? But Upino can't get the right foot on it.
Great opportunity there to get the second goal for Detroit City. Just swings it wild and doesn't get any connection on the ball. Had he been a little bit more composed and maybe just judged it a little bit better, use his instep of a foot rather than just wrapping around it with his laces, had a better chance of connecting it and getting his strike on target. But great opportunity there for Detroit City to put themselves 2-0 in the lead going into half-time.
Galena creating offense. Detroit City able to handle it.
I think Galena being on this left side of the field really isn't working that well for Colorado Springs. While he is getting onto balls that played over and behind, the quality in the end delivery hasn't quite been there. I think if he switches onto the right side, far better opportunity of being successful.
Foster off to Lindley. The 1-2 right back. Foster not able to find the men in the box.
Tough giveaway there from Lindley, but Detroit City get the ball and give it straight back to Colorado Springs again. Only seconds remaining to half-time. Colorado Springs should try to get the ball into the box and see if they could steal an equalizer, but referee blows.
First 45 in the books here at Widener Field. Maxi Rodriguez in the 42nd minute, giving Detroit City FC a 1-0 lead. Colorado Springs had the chances, Chris, but it's Detroit City heading into the half.
Yep, and I think that's going to be the message reciprocated from Brendan Burke, is that they're creating the chances. They just need to be more clinical in the final third in taking those chances. The goal that they conceded came from a corner kick when Caldo hadn't been called into too much action, but Detroit City did very well with that set piece. We spoke about the run to the back post from Rodriguez, the flick on from Lewis. Detroit 1-0 in the lead going into halftime.
Get your cell phone out and turn your camera on, because the Fox 21 Storm Team has a new weather app that you can download right now by scanning this code. It allows our team of meteorologists to send you push alerts wherever you are. It's a lot like us knocking on your door.
Oh.
With these weather alerts, we deliver important storm information for your specific area with detailed videos directly from the Fox 21 Storm Team Weather Center. It's weather in your neighborhood. Download the new Fox 21 Storm Team weather app today.
Join us for the 14th annual Be Over Rio Wear 5K Run 3K Walk on September 18th at America the Beautiful Park. Funds raised will help support people with gynecologic cancer in Colorado. Register at suesgift.org today.
Do you have a kiddo who loves soccer and the Switchbacks? Now's their time to shine. One lucky kiddo could win a family 4-pack of tickets to a Switchbacks home game, a chance to be featured on Fox 21's Loving Living Local, a photo with mascot Ziggy and Maximus, and the chance to kick a goal with them during Nava's game day preview. Just go to fox21news.com under the More tab. Click on Switchbacks FC and submit your child's best soccer playing photo.
Looking to grow your business? Fox 21 and SoCo CW are here to help. We can reach your consumers thanks to our award-winning news team, local sports coverage, and our connection and commitment to the community. Our exclusive partnership with Marshall Marketing will give you detailed demographics and buying habits in Southern Colorado, allowing us to target your advertising campaign with precision to maximize your advertising results. To learn more, email advertisewithus@kxrm.com.
1-0 at the half. Detroit City over Colorado Springs on a rainy night here at Widener Field. Presented by Widener Apartment Homes. Chris, it's 1-0 here in Colorado Springs, but action all across the USL. And Hartford and FC Tulsa tonight.
Yeah, Tulsa literally watching their playoff hopes drift away from them. Detroit in the lead and Hartford losing again. But this looks like a whole new Hartford team since Tab Ramos has taken over. We spoke about the talent of Danny Barrera so many times, the heartbeat of this team, the energy of this team, so much quality. And here you see them playing well, smiling, enjoying the game.
Hartford's got an uphill battle to get into the postseason, but there's a clear mistake that Hartford takes advantage of.
Yeah, I don't think the keeper will want to see this one again. He goes to punch it. He has so much time around him. He could have just caught the ball. I always get frustrated when goalkeepers punch when they can catch.
Another chance here brewing for Hartford. And they just seem to pour it on.
What a finish. You don't get to those ones. Skill takes him on, opens his hips, bends it into the far corner, into the side netting. On that one, the goalkeeper had no chance, and the celebration was even better.
Well, Chris, I knew you didn't like goalkeepers. You like the goals. And we'll add another one on right here. And this one off the post and finally back in.
What a strike, but the attacker does ever so well to stay after. You see that top spin on the volley. Keeper does ever so well to push it under the post, but just not enough.
Had to make it entertaining at the end, Tulsa did. After trailing throughout the match, going towards the back and sneaking in 2 goals right at the end. It's Hartford and Tulsa, this Pittsburgh and Louisville, a very different type of match brewing there.
Yeah, Louisville, of course, one of the best teams in the USL Championship right now, trying to make sure they get that #1 seed, that #1 spot. Been so dangerous throughout the course of the season, and again tonight showing that early phases of the game.
Hartford and Tulsa might have been for Chris Nurse with all the goals. This one maybe a little more defensive and some missed opportunities.
What a delivery into that box. That ball's just put into the danger area there from Dia. Nobody attacking centrally, but this half-body strike at the back post. Keeper does well to push away.
Closing minutes before halftime, and again, can't find the back of the net.
Dia again with that long throw, and Ombi just trying to wrap his left foot around that shot and get it on target, but keeper is happy to see that one sail over the crossbar.
Another opportunity, Chris. Almost an own goal, but they keep it out.
Yeah, calamitous defending there. Clears it to his own goal. His teammate bails him out, and then another teammate has to make a clearance off the line. Good defending, bad defending, a bit of both.
And just sure-handed at the back in the final minutes.
Dia,
that one.
Again on the left-hand side, involved in everything attacking from the left fullback position for Louisville City.
Trying to find that opportunity late, but neither side could come away, and it ended 0-0. Here in Colorado, 1-0 Detroit City. And Chris, fun 45 minutes. We've got 45 more to go. And tonight's honorary healthcare professional of the match is Mark Mills, sous chef at Penrose Hospital. Thank you, Mark. Detroit City up 1-0 over Colorado Springs. We'll be right back on ESPN+.
We all have goals. But let's be honest, most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
this season.
And that's full time. The old guard with a new trophy. Orange County wins the USL Championship final.
Calling all Switchbacks fans. Now is your chance to be featured on Loving Living Local. All you have to do is submit your best fan photo on our website for a chance to be featured on Loving Living Local with our host, Nava. And you'll receive a fan swag goodie bag full of awesome Switchbacks gear. For your chance to be our winner, just go to fox21news.com under the Sports tab and click Switchbacks FC to enter.
Welcome back to Widener Field. 1-0 Detroit City over Colorado Springs. A goal in the 42nd minute for Maxi Rodriguez. We look around the league, some exciting times in the USL right now. Of course, Sacramento Republic's run came to an end, but some expansion coming to the league as well.
Yeah, I think Sacramento's run in the US Open Cup put the USL Championship into a whole different spotlight. You know, even the first half 0-0, of course, they lost the game in the end, but they definitely went out there with their hearts on their sleeves and made everybody proud in the way they performed and get into the final. So huge round of applause for Sacramento Republic. Congratulations, of course, to Orlando City. And everybody's excited about expansion in Florida, where it's not so wet and rainy and cold.
Tim Tebow knows about football. He's now going to learn about another type of football as we look around the league tonight. A couple matches still not underway yet, but the big one there, San Antonio, San Diego. It's San Antonio with a 1-0 advantage.
Yeah, San Antonio, San Diego, but that's a super surprising result there in the bottom right-hand corner. Charleston Battery defeating Tampa Bay Rowdies 2-1. That's a big blow to the Tampa Bay Rowdies and a huge confidence boost for Charleston Battery, despite not having too much to play for. Remember the season, always out to go out with taking down a few of the big dogs.
Well, we talked about it, the playoff push heating up, only 6 weeks remaining, and here's what's ahead in the USL.
Again, you know, that should be a huge game, San Diego Phoenix, right? But Phoenix have not been performing as well as they have recently. Interested to see if they can upset San Diego going towards the playoffs. Detroit, Tampa Bay Rowdies, two teams that we hope to see in the playoffs. Lots of tantalizing upcoming fixtures.
Tantalizing soccer coming up. There's tantalizing soccer here in Colorado Springs. Detroit City ahead 1-0 at the half here at Widener Field.
You know, it says out of workshop for a reason.
I'm so sorry to bother you, boss, but they moved the World Cup to the holidays.
Wait, like the actual World Cup? To my holiday season? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, there's Messi and Ronaldo.
Yeah, but that's my time to shine. I mean, how am I supposed to compete with that? You know what? Get Blitzen on the phone. I got to get back up there right now. I gotta go.
Fox 21's Loving Living Local is exploring outdoor Colorado in this fully loaded 4xe Jeep Wrangler, and now is your chance to win big. Snap a pic of yourself enjoying Colorado's outdoors. Submit that to fox21news.com. Plus, tune in to Loving Living Local for special segments highlighting things to do and places to see in our beautiful state. At the end of the year, one lucky winner will receive a gift certificate for a prepaid 2-year lease on a brand new Jeep from Perkins Motors. So, show us how you outdoor Colorado.
Do you have a kiddo who loves soccer and the Switchbacks? Now's their time to shine. One lucky kiddo could win a family 4-pack of tickets to a Switchbacks home game, a chance to be featured on Fox 21's Loving Living Local, a photo with mascot Ziggy and Maximus, and the chance to kick a goal with them during Nava's game day preview. Just go to fox21news.com under the More tab. Click on Switchbacks FC and submit your child's best soccer playing photo.
We are Southern Colorado.
Saturday during the summers was our get up and go to Monument Lake fishing. From a little hobby as an 11-year-old kid, it's turned into quite a business.
Our stories matter.
If they're on the trails, if they're in the woods, if they're anywhere, I can be with them now.
Bringing you the most local news.
All of the people that are doing this type of agriculture are trying to do a better thing for society.
We are Fox 21, and together we are Southern Colorado.
It is still raining here at Widener Field at halftime, almost ready for the second half. Detroit City ahead 1-0. Chris, it looked like Colorado Springs had the advantage early on, and here's that one of those early opportunities.
Yeah, we spoke about Shello having his first professional debut today. Tested early from that corner kick. Does ever so well to come out, punch it away, keep the score 0-0.
And this is where Carroll almost made it 1-0 10 minutes before Maxi Rodriguez did.
Does ever so well to get up early here above the defender, heads it on target, just inches wide of missing in the back of the net. Goalkeeper happy to see that one bounce off the outside of the upright and away for a goal kick.
Well, it was the ever dangerous Haji Berry in the 38th, and then he played it off, and Colorado Springs again came inches away from finding that first goal.
Yeah, Barry does well to get on the ball in the first place, stays with the play, makes the run to get the through pass. Great decision making here, not to take the chance himself, but to lay it off Henriquez. Henriquez thus leaning back, should just guide that across goal with the instep of his foot, put his team into the lead. However, off a resulting corner kick down the other end, Lewis flicks it to the back post, and Rodriguez finishes at the far post to put his team 1-0 in the lead.
Well, you see the numbers. Possession early on was controlled by Colorado Springs, but it flipped those final 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, statistically, the game says that Detroit City have had the more possession. However, it hasn't really felt like that. It felt like Colorado Springs, especially, we spoke about Lindley being on the ball a lot, was the one dominating possession. But the statistics right now are in favor for Detroit City, both with the scoreline and the possession. Interesting to see if they make any adjustments in the second half. Colorado being the home team, we expect them to come out a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more expansive, a little bit more attacking and direct. Going to be interested to see if Detroit City can weather the storm as Haji Barry and co come out in search of the equalizing goal.
We will get a change to start this second half for Colorado Springs. It is Tristan Hodge entering the match for the Switchbacks. Isaiah Foster off. Substitution brought to you by HibbleCenter.org. Chris, you talked about some tactical adjustments. What do you expect to see from Colorado Springs in the final 45?
I think they'll force the tempo of the game a little bit more. I think they'll play a little bit more direct. I think they'll be a little bit more attacking minded. I think they're maybe a little bit reserved in that first half. I think now you're going to see Galena be hopefully a little bit more aggressive in the attack. Definitely Barry a little bit more aggressive in the attack. Just a whole lot more attacking mindset in their approach to the game.
On the other side with Detroit City, they stuck that goal in the 42nd. How do they make that stand up?
I think that the first thing they want to do is they don't want to concede an early goal in the second half. So you can already see they've dropped into kind of a low block. The centre forward is very deep on the edge of the D at the halfway line. So they want to weather the storm for the first 15 minutes. Keep the scoreline as it is. Don't allow Colorado to get an early goal in the second half, and see if they can create an opportunity and kick on again.
Detroit City has done well when scoring first on the road. It's Maxi Rodriguez in the 42nd. So try and drop back and make it stand up over the final 45. We talked about the altitude in the first half a bunch, Chris. In the second half, how does that play maybe even more of a factor as Detroit City has to become more acclimated to it?
Well, because Detroit City now have the lead, they can afford to sit back a little bit and do a little less running. They just focus on keeping their shape and organization and staying disciplined. They don't necessarily need to use as much energy in chasing the game and being expansive and being left wide open where they can be taken advantage of. So in terms of being able to conserve energy a little bit more, it works definitely in the advantage of Detroit City. They can, if they're able to be very good defensively and absorb the pressure that Colorado Springs are going to bring on them in the second half, they're in a good position now tactically to be able to manage the altitude differences a little bit better than they were if they were essentially chasing the game and had to be opened up, players making runs forward, a little bit more expansive.
Big storyline again tonight. Ryan Shello, his pro debut, filling in for Ethan Steinwasser. Talked all about confidence with Shello. He's got to feel pretty confident after the first 45.
Yep, so far 45 minutes gone, half the game gone, and he's kept a clean sheet so far, and his team is in the lead 1-0. So it's a positive start for him so far. Of course, that's only half the game. Still a lot of time left to play, and he's probably going to come under a lot of pressure from the offensive third, from this dynamic Colorado Springs attack. So it's a great test for him because he's coming up in his first debut against some of the league's best offensive players.
Here's Galena. Plays it across to Lindley. Out wide, Edwards, service into the box, but nobody's home.
Good delivery there from Edwards, straight down the middle. Somebody should be in that area attacking the ball. And that's where Detroit City need to be a little bit better. They can't just afford to keep giving the ball back to Colorado Springs. That when they do get possession, despite them being deep in a low block, they do need to keep possession of it. Otherwise, that pressure that Colorado Springs keep putting on them is eventually going to lead to goal scoring opportunities. So when Detroit City do get possession of the ball, they need to make sure they're responsive of it, they keep it, they hold on to it, and then give their team an opportunity to build and get higher up the pitch.
It's almost how the first half started, in essence. Colorado Springs controlled much of the pace before Detroit City was able to take control. Looks like another early opportunity in the second half for Colorado Springs.
Unorthodox clearance there from Wynn. He's on the edge of his own 18-yard box and kicks out a play towards his own goal line.
Very rarely do you see a full strike 18 yards away, right?
Unfortunately, Colorado Springs weren't able to do anything meaningful with the ball.
It was Maxi Rodriguez in the 42nd for Detroit City to put them ahead 1-0. 50 minutes down here in Colorado Springs.
And we spoke about how difficult it is to come away to Colorado Springs and pick up points and get a good result. If Detroit are able to sustain this lead that they have, it will do wonders for their confidence as a team.
Colorado Springs, again, 10-3-2 on their home turf this season. Down but far from out in the early minutes of the second half. Maybe a chance for Detroit City. It's a win down the side. It's played all the way back. As Colorado Springs takes care of it. First 20 minutes or so to open things up tonight. Still feeling each other out, and then it became much more offensive. Looks like that might be much of the same here in the second half, Chris.
Yeah, Colorado Springs are the ones who need to chase the game. As you can see, Detroit City are sitting back a little bit and saying, bring it on. Now it's away, and it's very difficult because they've got everybody behind the ball, so it's very difficult to play in between them and expose them. So it's going to be interesting to see how Colorado Springs go about trying to open them up and create goal scoring opportunities, because now there's not space in between the lines to really play those penetrating passes when they're being so compact and disciplined.
Colorado Springs very patient. It's Barry. We'll go back, now out wide.
And this is the danger for the defense. You look at Barry in this position and he's not a threat, but then he goes into more attacking positions, and the next thing you know, he's in behind you having a shot on goal. He does a great job of coming deep, knowing when to go long, when to go deep, just giving the defenders something different to think about.
Saw it a few times in the first half. Colorado Springs couldn't finish. There is number 10 in black, Barry.
And tactically, you can already see the tactical adjustment, right? Detroit City did dominate the possession in the first half, but here you can see they're content to let Colorado Springs have the ball in possession in and around the halfway line. That's not where they're going to hurt them. They're going to hurt them if they're able to get the possession of the ball deeper and closer to the 18-yard box. But with so many bodies back behind the ball, there you see it's very difficult to break down, and they're doing a good job of intercepting passes. Now it's what they do with it when they get it.
The counter-attack for Detroit City. A foot race, and Edwards clears it away.
Yeah, Edwards does ever so well there to make up the distance. The attacker actually has 5 or 6 yards head start on him. He does great to make up that distance, win possession of the ball, and play it out of touch for a throw-in. But now this allows Detroit now to get that pressure away from him. Now they can possess the ball higher up the field if they're able to keep it.
It's Rodriguez. Lindley knocks it off the line. And maybe a counterattack for Colorado Springs, but Williams able to get back.
Similar to Edwards,
Galena.
Williams doing a great job there of recovering and getting goal side and winning back the possession of the ball for his team.
Galena going to be issued a yellow card. All being for all, remember to take a moment to breathe. Mental health and well-being for all. Versius Health seemed like got a little aggressive just with that last step, Chris. So Lewis down for Detroit City. Reminder, this injury stoppage is brought to you by Centura Health. As Lewis pops back up, and a chance for Detroit City to set things up. Headed on, and Caldwell up the way. Chris, with Detroit City dropping so far back defensively, is it likely on a counterattack, or it's got to be something special from the front third?
I think they have to switch that ball quicker. If you look at that play there when Hodges is in possession, there's 7 players from Detroit City in that 1/3 of the field. That means on the other side of the field, there's only 2 or 3 players. If they're able to switch the ball quicker and get it out to the wingers on the opposite flank, they're going to be in good 1v1 situations to use their creativity and create goal-scoring chances. But that switch has to come quicker, either with drilled passes on the floor or by using Lindley to switch the ball quickly through the center part. Once they get Detroit City on one side of the field, they really need to be intentional about switching that ball quickly to get their attacking players like Galena or Barry or Amo in possession of the ball in the final third in 1v1 situations so they can make things happen.
They had some opportunities in the first half. Not much doing in the first 10 minutes in frame number 2. Advantage play on, says the referee. Here is Upano with service in, and Edwards able to keep it before Ockford checked that, clears it away. Upano wanted something there, but instead it's just going to be a goal kick. Referees let things play on at times tonight.
Yeah, there's been a few questionable challenges. The referees allowed the flow of the game to continue, and I like it. I prefer it a little bit like that, when players are able to express themselves about the game stopping consistently every time they go to challenge for the ball.
Something tells me you like that because that fit with your style of play. Call it a hunch. Call it a hunch.
Hey, if you're a tricky attacking player, you like to draw those free kicks. If you're an aggressive defensive midfielder, you want the referee to let play continue.
Right, forwards love matches that are 3-3, 3-2, and goalkeepers are 1-0, nothing more.
Of course, goalkeepers keeping a clean sheet is the same as a striker scoring a goal, right? Goalkeepers get bonuses for keeping, goalkeepers and defenders should have bonuses in their contracts for keeping clean sheets, and as strikers do, you get bonuses for scoring clean goals. So both sets of players have Of course, the motive is to win, but they're insensitized in different ways. Testing out my vocabulary here. Tantalizing was the word I used earlier.
Tantalizing. I'm sure we'll get mesmerizing. In some of those matches, while individually players can leave happy, sometimes the head coach might not be so happy.
Yeah, especially when it comes to clean sheets.
And there it is again. Another goal for Detroit City. This time, Declan Wynn on the receiving end. With how far Detroit City dropped back, they made sure to capitalize on the counterattack. And what a ball in from Upino.
What a finish. What a finish. You can't underestimate how difficult that is to judge the flight of the ball, connect with it on the half volley, and bury it in the back of the net, giving the goalkeeper no chance. Caldwell has no chance with that situation, but there's nobody marking as that ball comes into the box and Wynn striking it on goal. They get completely caught blindsided. Detroit City 2-0 in the lead, away from home in Colorado Springs, one of the most difficult away trips that you face in the USL Championship. Coping with these circumstances ever so well tonight.
One might say a mesmerizing strike from Declan Wynn.
Mesmerizing half volley from Declan Wynn to put his team 2-0 in the lead, away from home in Colorado Springs. His head coach will be ecstatic with the performance right now.
A new sense of urgency for Colorado Springs after conceding a second goal. Brendan Burke's club, they went 7 straight matches with allowing 3 or 4 goals. The last 3 coming into tonight had not conceded. And tonight, Detroit City finds the back of the net twice.
Yeah, and we spoke about tactically how they may address, right? We saw the first 10, 12 minutes into the second half, Detroit City were just sitting back, absorbing the pressure and kind of counter-attacking against Colorado Springs, and it's been effective. Colorado Springs were having a lot of the possession, keeping possession around the halfway line. It wasn't really threatening Detroit City, but then when Detroit City were able to win the ball, get into the final third, they've been able to be clinical and make it count, and that's been the difference, is being clinical in the chances they created.
It's Galeno, and unable to get it past.
And that's been the difference, being clinical in the chances created. Again, Colorado Springs creating a great opportunity to get themselves on the score sheet again. And Galena now, we spoke in the first half about him being on the left side. There you go, he's on the right side of the pitch now. He finds himself naturally ghosting into areas where he's dangerous to score goals. Unfortunately, this one comes off the upright. It doesn't end up in the back of the net, but another great chance for Colorado Springs to get themselves on the score sheet.
Ryan Shello tested more and more. One more look at that opportunity for Galena.
I think that really should be in back of the net off the first opportunity. Smart play just to let that ball run. Does well to follow up, and I guess the second is unlucky. It hits the inside of the post and somehow still manages to stay out of the goal. But Colorado Springs have had at least 2 clear-cut opportunities that they should have had in the back of the net that should put them on level pegging right now. The one from Henriquez earlier in the game, and this one now from Galena. You know, they do create the chances. We've just spoken that they need to be far more clinical.
Towards the back post. Galena almost there.
And this is maybe where, you know, Hadji Barry needs to step up now and instead of being so unselfish and thinking about creating opportunities or laying off for his teammates, this is where he needs to get hold of the ball himself and put the ball into the back of the net. And we know he has that capability also to take the game by the scruff of the neck and deliver for his team. Tonight's one of those nights where he may need to be that guy.
Well, of course, Colorado Springs down by 2. They'll bring on Aaron Wheeler to try and add some more offense. Substitution brought to you by HibbleCenter.org. It's Wheeler in, Issa Ryan in. Some more offense for this Colorado Springs club.
Yeah, Wheeler is a very difficult player to play against. His frame is huge, and it makes it very difficult to mark set pieces and open play, whether he's playing at the back or when they're defending, or whether he's playing as a 9 and holding up the ball. Such a physical presence in the final third. Believe me, I know. I was up against him one time and I caught an elbow to the ribs and I felt like I punched a rib.
So Edwards lays it off to Galena. Service in. And it seems since that goal from Declan Wynn to make it 2-0, Detroit City, we've seen another level of urgency from Colorado Springs.
Yeah, the service just needs to be a little bit better. Galena had good time on the ball out on the right-hand side here and delivered the ball into no man's land. He's got to take his time and put it into areas that gives Barry a chance to attack it.
Here's a chance, but the ref will blow it dead anyway on a foul.
But just look, Galena's now playing on the right-hand side for his team, and look how more active and effective he's been in creating goal-scoring opportunities now since he switched to his more natural side. In the first half, yeah, the balls will play behind and he has the speed and the athleticism to get onto them, but he wasn't able to express his talent or his ability in the same way as when he's naturally on the side that he favors most. And you're already seeing in this second half, he's been involved in 3 or 4 chances that resulted in Shello having to make saves.
Colorado Springs does well to keep it in play. Barry fighting for it. Instead, it's Ryan. Ryan can't contain it. Amo to Barry. And Barry settles things down. Lindley out wide.
Good defense there from Detroit City, getting bodies behind the ball.
Galena. And Shello stands tall. Here's Lindley. And it trickles away.
Again, if you're looking at this opportunity, the keeper makes a save, but I think there's again a player in a better position where a cutback could have resulted in a goal. Great little ball slid down the side here from Hodge to Galena. Drives inside, tries to take the shot himself, but I think if he looks behind him, I think he sees one of his teammates in a better position to put this into the back of the net.
Colorado Springs remaining patient. The time is ticking. A 2-0 lead for Detroit City. It was Maxi Rodriguez in the closing minutes of the first half. Declan Wynn in the opening minutes of the second half. Does Colorado Springs have an answer? Here's Barry dropping back. Back out wide. It's Galena back on the left. Shello does well to prevent a corner kick. Chris, it seems like with Detroit City dropping back, Colorado Springs chasing 2. Might be a lot of offense for Colorado Springs, the final 35.
Yeah, and we spoke. If Detroit leave here with a point, I think they're happier. I think if they leave here with 3 points, they're ecstatic. So for Colorado Springs to win this game, Detroit need to concede 3 goals. If they're defensively disciplined, that's going to be very tough because we know that this Detroit City team has already been defensively solid, let alone when they're 2-0 in the lead, conceding 3 goals. It's not something that they've done very recently. That's been done to them very recently. So it's a very, very tough task what Colorado Springs face for the remainder 23 minutes of this game to try and score 3 goals against this Detroit City defense.
Detroit City, 271 minutes without allowing a goal. Back-to-back clean sheets and working on a third. And Mahoney takes down a Detroit forward.
I like how the referee is managing this game. He's not giving the little soft ones, the little pull your jersey or the little nudges. If it's a solid free kick, he's giving it. But if it's the little soft one, he's letting play go on. I like how he's allowing the game to flow so far.
Mo trying to plead his case.
And it's the foul on Mo. For me, it was a soft one that he wanted the referee to call, but it wasn't much contact. Get up and get on with it. The second foul, there was a significant contact. So yes, the referee did blow his whistle, but he's not stopping the game every 2 minutes for every little touch. He's allowing the game to flow, and if it's something significant where he needs to bring it back, then he's doing so. I think the referee's doing a good job this evening.
Set pieces is where Detroit City has shined tonight. Carroll inside, but Colorado Springs on the offensive. Wheeler up ahead.
Good pass from Wheeler there. Heavy touch from Galeno. Now finds himself back on the left side.
Enriquez came off. Wheeler came on up top. Ryan on the back line. In place of Echeverria. Ockford. Towards that left side, but Detroit City once again. Colorado Springs trying to keep it from going out.
Good defending there from Detroit City. Williams there, strong tackle.
Hodge out wide to Amo. Gets a touch on it to keep it in. It'll be a throw for Colorado Springs.
Williams with some no-nonsense defending there in the right fullback position for Detroit City.
'70th minute at Widener Field. 2-0 Detroit City advantage. Maxi Rodriguez in the closing minutes of the first half. Declan Wynn, a tantalizing goal in the 59th minute to make it 2-0. It's that patient approach from Colorado Springs. Out wide to Hodge. He plays it towards the box. Wheeler can't get there, and instead he's called for a foul. Wheeler tried to contest with Bryant, and Bryant got knocked down by the big-bodied 6'4", 34-year-old.
I told you, that's not somebody you want to get hit by too many times. And he knows how to use his body well. Sometimes there's players who are big and they don't necessarily know how to use their frame effectively throughout the course of a soccer game, but Wheeler does use his frame effectively in games.
He's listed at 6'4", $174, but when you know how to lay it on, it might feel like 190 or 200, that hit. It's an uphill battle for Colorado Springs in the final 20 minutes.
And time's ticking, of course. Prior to this game, they went 3 games keeping a clean sheet, just conceding 0 goals and winning all 3 of those games by 1-0 margins. Prior to that, they went through a spell where they were conceding 3 and 4 goals every game, and they thought they had crossed and they were on the other side of that. But tonight, they've kind of dipped back into some old habits a little bit in terms of conceding goals. Not what they really would have liked going towards the playoffs and how well they've been performing lately. They would have liked to continue that positive momentum, but hopefully now it's something they can highlight. They can go back to training and address and reinforce themselves going towards the postseason.
Rodriguez links up with Wynn. Wynn to Upano, and Caldwell is there.
Oh, unlucky there. Nice idea from Lindley trying to find Galeno on the counter-attack. Just slightly overhit that pass.
Just seems like Colorado Springs hasn't been as sharp as they had been their last 3 matches.
Yeah, and you don't really expect that because they do have the home advantage and the different variations that we spoke about that comes into play when teams come away here to Colorado Springs. But you have to give Detroit City credit. You know, we spoke about how would they approach the game, what would be their game plan, what would be their tactics. And I think it's been spot on tonight in the way they've approached the game. They know the difficulties that they face and they adjust their tactics effectively, and they've been clinical in the final third, and they've needed to be clinical in the final third. There's been spells when they've had to drop deep and absorb a lot of pressure, and there's been moments in the game where they've had to be exceptionally effective from set pieces and on the counter-attack.
Here is that counter-attack. It's Wheeler. Aaron Wheeler with the left foot. And looking for Barry, but it's broken away.
Wheeler did well to get that loose pass that was kind of 50-50 anybody's ball. He did well to get onto it first and then drive into the final third, but just didn't get the support that he needed quick enough to create a meaningful opportunity.
Hodge dances. Hodge to Barry. Barry spins. Barry just puts it wide.
This first touch from Haji Barry is absolute class. Hodge does well to create the opportunity. You see him jinking left to right, cuts inside, finds Barry. One touch into space, leaves the defender hanging a leg. Just needs to get a little bit more bend on that strike, and it's in the back of the net. But the first touch says everything about this guy. Absolute class. That's phenomenal. If that goes in the back of the net, goal of the week for sure.
Haji Barry, a walking highlight reel, and came inches away from another one to add to his resume. It's hard to put into words how clinical that first touch was in a tight 18-yard box where you know there's only a small area where you can put that ball and still have time to get your shot off. Everything was perfect. Just the finish just needed a little bit more bending to get into the back of the net. The first touch, you wanted to see that end in a goal, but again, it shows why he's a different class to many of the players he comes up against. Chris, it feels like all night Colorado Springs has been knocking on the door, and it just needs that one spark to try and get closer.
Not all night. This is becoming a pattern. It was similar to Phoenix, chance after chance after chance. Similar tonight, you cannot afford to convert 1 in 10. Your conversion ratio needs to be a lot higher. Against Phoenix, it was 1 in 23 chances created, albeit not all of those were on target. And there's been a decent amount of opportunities again tonight, and they failed to convert. At least 2 of those chances were really good chances that should have been goals. So it's really an area that they're going to have to focus on. They don't have the biggest squad. They don't have the most depth in their squad. So the ones that are on the pitch, they really need them to be clinical. And these players will go to another level. They perform great this season. If they can get over that final little ledge that's preventing them in the final third of being clinical and putting teams to bed 2 and 3 goals, I think that's really the next step for Colorado Springs.
It's going to be full throttle offense for the Switchbacks over the final 15 minutes. Chasing 2 goals. Maxi Rodriguez in the 42nd, Declan Wynn in the 58th. Switchbacks have come close time and time again tonight. And they find a late goal here to make things a little interesting in those final 10 minutes.
Great run from Galena. Again, tremendous defending from Detroit City.
The line continues to move up for Colorado Springs. It's Mo. Trying to battle for position. And now he earns a foul.
Again, that aggressive, no-nonsense approach to defending. I think it's a good tackle. Yes, it's strong, but Carroll does, for me, he gets a lot of the ball, and a little man.
What can the Switchbacks draw up right here? This could be the spark that they need.
It's going to be interesting. Lindley looks like he's setting this one up for a strike on goal. I don't see much wrong in that tackle there from Carroll.
Lindley to take it. Chips one back post. It's Wheeler with the head. Another opportunity. And the Switchbacks once again can't get it down and into the back of the net.
Yeah, that's great ball from Lindley. And as you mentioned, at 6'4", and Wheeler's frame, there's not going to be too many players they're able to beat him aerially when the ball's delivered and floated like that. He does well to head it back across goal, but just nobody was anticipating and able to turn it into the back of the net.
Down by 2. Brendan Burke brings on another forward. It's Carlton Belmar. Sub brought to you by HibbleCenter.org.
And of course, that's a statement of their intent. In these remaining 12 minutes, you can see Belmar giving out some tactical instructions. They're planning to go full throttle, all-out offense, taking out a defender, putting in an attacker. They want to see if they can get these 2 goals and try to tie up this game late.
For a forward like you, Chris, you're going to enjoy these last 10 or so minutes.
For Detroit City, I think if there's ever a time to lock up shop and be defensive, I think it's now. You can still see that they're throwing a number of bodies forward, but I think now's the time when you 2-0 in the lead, 10 minutes remaining, be defensively disciplined. Don't give away any easy opportunities or get caught spread wide open and allow Colorado Springs to get themselves back into the game. For now, 10 minutes to go, I'll be playing for the clean sheet.
Barry does well to take it away without a foul. A chance for Colorado Springs. Amo circles back, finds Barry. Barry into the center. Belmar to Amo, but blocked away. And now we'll get a stoppage in play. Amo and Lewis got tangled up, and the ref blew it dead to make sure that Lewis was okay.
Does look like a head injury so far, so of course referees and the medical staff take a little bit more caution and time when addressing these situations.
Lewis gets up. There's a little thumbs up. He appears to be okay. Comes off momentarily. Go off to the side, and Detroit City can't believe it. It doesn't appear that even a foul is going to be called. It's just going to be just to make sure Lewis is okay. Might get a drop ball situation. Detroit City's trying to plead their case, but they're not going to win it.
They're pleading the case, but they're also playing smart, right? They're making sure that every little second that can be wasted, they're ensuring is wasted. So that they're also game management right now. They don't want the ball staying in play. They don't want the momentum or the tempo of the game to be high and allow Colorado Springs to get momentum and create goal-scoring opportunities. They want to try and keep the game tempo as slow as possible, keep the ball out of play, take the extra seconds that you need when the referee blows free kicks and corners. Really try to drain the clock.
Lindley with the corner towards the back, and once again Colorado Springs on the doorstep but can't capitalize.
Yeah, in this situation I don't think there's any more Colorado Springs could have done. Great corner delivery. It's a very good header from the corner, and Shello on his debut is doing exceptional between the sticks.
Lindley with the T-row. Price invest with confidence corner towards the back, and Shello can take a deep breath. And it's the big-bodied Wheeler with some pushing and shoving.
Wheeler crashing the back post there, and he takes out probably 2 or 3 defenders for Detroit City. They'll be in no rush to get off the floor at all.
And Wheeler is handed a yellow card, prevented by Diversis Health. Well-being for all. Remember to take a moment to breathe. Mental health and well-being for all. There were a couple opportunities off of those pairs of corners for Colorado Springs.
And we spoke about Shello and how he's growing into the game. You're not watching this game and seeing a goalkeeper who looks like they're making a professional debut. At the moment, he's looked like he's played 100 games right now. Of course, don't let me jinx it again. I've been guilty of that in this game so far, but he's had a stellar performance tonight, and if he's able to continue like this, I think his teammates owe him a big drink after the game.
Cy Goddard comes on for Detroit City. Another sub by HibbleCenter.org. Trevor James trying to shore things up in the final 8 to 10 minutes. Getting a few more fouls called these last few minutes.
Yeah, somebody on the Detroit team needs to show a little leadership and tell players, stay back, hold your shape, be disciplined defensively. Less than 10 minutes to go, including stoppage time. You don't need to be giving up space or giving up opportunities or leaving players in 1v1 situations.
Mahoney finds Barry. Barry tries to give it back. Detroit City is back. It's Lindley trying to run onto it. Nothing doing. Goddard, who just checked in. Lindley earns it back. There's a true level of urgency by Colorado Springs.
Tenacious in the center of the park, I would use to describe Lindley. High 83 minutes to the game, and his energy levels are through the roof, trying to get the ball, trying to get his team playing, trying to see if they can get themselves on the score sheet.
Chris Nurse on maybe 3 espressos level?
Just one for tonight's game.
Colorado Springs running out of time. Maxi Rodriguez in the first half, Declan Wynn in the second half for Detroit City. Looking to come to Colorado and steal 3 points. Galena for Hodge. And Rodriguez is there. Lindley ahead. He's got caught up with Galena. Detroit City settles things down.
Detroit did the right thing there. When they got possession of the ball, they slowed the tempo of the game down, but then they gave it away. And that's the problem, is that they give it away, now they're under defense again.
It's Barry, tries it from distance. And Detroit City is there.
Again, great defending there from Detroit. Good, clever play in the center of the park from Barry. A little nutmeg to create the space for him to get a shot off, but Detroit equal to it and blocks it before Shello even needs to get to make a save. So again, Detroit defending very well. It's no coincidence that they have one of the most stingiest defenses recently. You can see why.
Matthews out wide. Here is Goddard. He'll bring it back, and then he's tripped up.
Smart. You could see he was dwelling on the ball, holding on to it. He's looking for the free kick just to kill the momentum of the game.
The Switchbacks have been looking for a spark all night.
He knows he doesn't have a forward option here. Just holds on to the ball, draws the free kick from Mahoney. Smart play.
We'll get another change for Detroit City. Francis Atuahena on for the visitors. Some fresh legs in the final few minutes.
Nice feet there from Belmar, albeit dribbling towards his own goalkeeper, but does well to get himself out of trouble and out of pressure.
Final few minutes at Widener Field in Colorado Springs. Detroit City ahead by a pair. And that's Atuahena thought, why not make it 3, but got a little anxious.
Yeah, it was a smart pass, just a little bit too early with his run and offside.
Aaron Wheeler in the thick of things again.
Hey, you have to literally out there fighting for his team, trying to make things happen.
Atuahena. It's just a goal kick. Critical moment of the match is brought to you by Centura Health, and it's a missed opportunity for Colorado Springs.
Yeah, it's a great pass, and even better dummy here. Just the awareness from Barry to know that Galena was at the back post. Tries to guide it across the keeper. Shello does great with the first save. The goal post is responsible for the second save. Off the inside of the post and across the goal line. Keeps Colorado Springs off of the score sheet.
Galena towards the center, Wheeler, and it's wide. Chris, that opportunity that we saw for Galena, weren't able to capitalize. If they did, would have made it 2-1 late in the match. Maybe a chance for Colorado Springs, but it's missed opportunities, the story of the night.
I think if we're looking back on chances, the one that Henriquez has earlier in the game that would have given them the lead and put them in control of the match is the one that really would have set the tone for things to be different. I think when you're chasing, it's a little bit different. You're still chasing the game, but they had the opportunity to be in control of the game and control the tempo of the game and the rhythm of the game and everything. And the inability to capitalize on that has cost them dearly tonight.
Taking plenty of shots, just haven't been able to put them on frame.
And I think that 18 shots tonight, I think against Phoenix Rising it was 23, so you're looking at almost 40 opportunities and converting just 1 in 2 games. You know, that's not a good conversion ratio, and that's something they have to address. As we spoke previously, I think that a lot is on Haji Barry, and when he's not the one putting the ball into the back of the net, some of the other players need to step up on a more consistent basis for this team to be real playoff contenders are going on to win the championship. We know they're going to be in the playoffs. They've already solidified that. But if they're to go the next step now, that's what they need to be doing. They need more clinical finishers in the final third who can contribute to putting the ball in the back of the net. Because 1 goal from 40 shots is not so great.
Official adds 4 minutes to this one here in Colorado Springs. Brought to you by TikTok Shop. Just seems a little all too late for Colorado Springs tonight, Chris.
Yeah, less than 3 minutes remain in this game. I think we can safely, fingers crossed, anything can happen. I think we can safely say the 3 points tonight are going to belong to Detroit City, and I think they deserve them, in all honesty. The way they've managed the game, the adversity that you face being away from home, I think they've risen to the challenge tonight and rightfully come out winners.
Does Colorado Springs have any magic in them tonight? They push forward. Hodge finds Barry to Mahoney. Belmar ahead into the box. Wheeler, yes! Wheeler finds the back of the net, and finally Colorado Springs adds one in the scoring column, and things just got a whole lot more interesting at Widener Field.
Wheeler's been super active in the game since he's come in, and we know that he poses an aerial threat. We spoke about that previously. Belmar does well to keep this ball alive. It wasn't the best pass, but Wheeler gets up so high, catches the goalkeeper off guard, because the goalkeeper doesn't jump to receive this ball. He's waiting for it to come down, and Wheeler gets above him. And once he's up there and that big frame is in front of you, you're trapped, and he does well. Headers it on frame, gets his team on the score sheet. We spoke about anything can happen. There is still 2 minutes left in this game. We thought it was wrapped up and done, but I'm not so convinced. Maybe there's still one more chance.
Does Colorado Springs have a little bit of magic in them to preserve a point?
I think it's Aaron Wheeler with the springs on that header.
And this time it's Wheeler Called for a foul. Wheeler called for the foul, but it's Belmar further down. It's down. Well, we've called Aaron Wheeler's name a lot since he's come on. A lot of aggressive play, but it's his goal here in the final few minutes of the match, Chris, that is able to propel him into our man of the match, prevented by the Better Business Bureau.
Yeah, we've spoken. It's not been a great night for Colorado Springs, but you have to give Aaron Wheeler credit. He's come off the bench and he's been a positive influence on his team. It's been his work rate, fighting for the ball, competing, and his ability to provide a moment of brilliance that gets his team on the score sheet with the header that he's got. It's not coincidence. He works hard for it. He wins it. He converts it. Aaron Wheeler tonight has been the bright spark for Colorado Springs, and you know, if we're looking for a man of the match, he's definitely provided that inspiration. So for sure, Aaron Wheeler, man of the match.
Maybe one last chance for Colorado Springs. But Shello swallows it up.
And of course, he almost had his clean sheet on his debut. You know, that's something every keeper looks for on a debut, is keep a clean sheet. But I think he's done fantastic for his team tonight. They're about to walk away with 3 points. His debut performance, his team's going to win 3 points away from home at one of the most difficult away stadiums to play at. Don't let me jinx it. It's not over yet.
Lindley ahead. Lindley into the box. No one on the receiving end. The official checks his watch. And that is it. Detroit City goes to Colorado Springs. They bend, but they don't break late. And it's Detroit City, a 2-1 win in the pro debut of Ryan Shello.
And you can see his teammates, look at his teammates going to celebrate with Shello. They know how important that is, and that's so great to see them giving him that confidence in his first start. Signs of a real good team when they acknowledge that. Sometimes the players can get lost in the moment and just be celebrating the win, but the first person that they went to celebrate was with Shello.
Detroit City holds on 2-1 over Colorado. And Chris, it got exciting at the end. And there's a whole lot to talk about this match at Widener Field tonight.
The tough ones are the ones you appreciate most, and for sure, a victory away against Colorado Switchbacks is definitely one of the toughest games you play throughout the course of the year. So I think they're going to enjoy this one tonight, Detroit City, moving forward.
3 points for Detroit City. We'll look at the highlights and the final stats on the other side of the break here in Colorado.
We are Southern Colorado.
Saturday during the summers was our get up and go to Monument Lake fishing. From a little hobby as an 11-year-old kid, it's turned into quite a business.
Our stories matter.
If they're on the trails, if they're in the woods, if they're anywhere, I can be with them now.
Bringing you the most local news.
All of the people that are doing this type of agriculture are trying to do a better thing for society.
We are Fox 21, and together we are Southern Colorado.
Looking to grow your business? Fox 21 and SoCo CW are here to help. We can reach your consumers thanks to our award-winning news team, local sports coverage, and our connection and commitment to the community. Our exclusive partnership with Marshall Marketing will give you detailed demographics and buying habits in Southern Colorado, allowing us to target your advertising campaign with precision to maximize your advertising results. To learn more, email advertisewithus@kxrm.com.
Calling all Switchbacks fans. Now is your chance to be featured on Loving Living Local. All you have to do is submit your best fan photo on our website for a chance to be featured on Loving Living Local with our host, Nava. And you'll receive a fan swag goodie bag full of awesome Switchbacks gear. For your chance to be our winner, just go to fox21news.com under the Sports tab and click Switchbacks FC to enter.
Detroit City holds on at the end to take down Colorado Springs 2-1. Ryan Shello, his pro debut, picks up the win. And let's see how Detroit City got it done tonight, Chris. A lot of missed opportunities for Colorado Springs tonight, but it's Maxi Rodriguez who capitalizes here for the visitors.
Yeah, great delivery from the corner kick into a dangerous area. Lewis does well to attack it, flicks it towards the back post, and Maxi Rodriguez comes through like a bullet. No saving that one. Caldwell left picking the ball out of the back of the net. 1-0.
Declan Wynn doubled the tally for Detroit City on one of the finest finishes you'll see all night around the league.
Yeah, this has to be a contender for goal of the week. Timing, unmarked at the back post, terrible defending from Colorado Springs, and he makes no mistake. Such a difficult skill to judge the flight of the ball, arrive at the right time, and convert on the half volley, giving Caldwell no chance again. 2-0, Detroit City FC.
Well, Detroit City went ahead, and then Colorado Springs came close time and time again.
Yeah, some jinking here. Haji Barry, phenomenal first touch. Just doesn't manage to wrap his hips around this ball as much as he would have liked and bend into the far corner, but this first touch is everything to create this opportunity. So close. Class from Haji Barry.
Things did get a little interesting in the closing minutes. Aaron Wheeler, who came on, he made his impact felt late.
Yeah, just when you thought the game was dead and buried, Wheeler at the far post rises like a salmon, gives the keeper no chance, heads it into the back of the net, gave his team a little bit of hope, but unfortunately too little too late. The game ends 2-1 in favor of Detroit City FC.
Detroit City goes to Colorado Springs, picks up 3 points as we look at the stats brought to you by Widener.
Yep, convincing victory for Detroit City in the end. You know, we talked about the tactics, how they would sit back a little bit, try to catch them on the counter-attack set pieces. I think they executed their game plan and their tactics perfectly for tonight. For Colorado Springs, on the other hand, I think they got a little bit of work to do. The goal from Wynn at the back post, nobody marking, was obviously a letdown after coming 3 games on a row with clean sheets. Punished for that poor defending, and again punished tonight for not being clinical in the final third. Lots of room for improvement.
Detroit City goes to Colorado Springs and picks up 3 crucial points. The visitors 2-1 over the Switchbacks. So for the rest of our crew and Chris Nurse, I'm Josh White saying so long and good night from Colorado Springs.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.